Earth Angels, welcome back to another What I Eat in a Day. This is a comfort food edition. It started off as kind of a gloomy, rainy morning, which I thoroughly enjoy. It allows me to feel less guilty about lingering in bed a little longer, and I have been loving starting my mornings singing affirmations. There are a bunch of different creators on Spotify who make affirmation tracks, and just to feel the affirmations, the joy, the love, the frequency of the words on an energetic level is really powerful. And I have been finding that super sweet before or after my morning asana and pranayama. And I also love to get my bare feet on the earth, rain or shine, just to ground and anchor myself into the earth. And today's video is sponsored by Skillshare. Skillshare is an online learning community with thousands of inspiring classes for creators to explore new skills, deepen existing passions, and get lost in creativity. They have classes ranging from video editing, Photoshop, a bunch of different craft and trade classes that can really help you to expand your brand. I recently did this class on revolutionary self-care, as well as this watercolor in the woods course. Skillshare is curated specifically for learning, meaning there are no ads, and they're always launching new premium classes so you can stay focused and follow wherever your creativity takes you. And the first 1,000 of my subscribers to click the link in my description will get a 1-month free trial of Skillshare so you can start exploring your creativity today. For breakfast, I have been making this berry crumble nearly once a week, starting out with 5 tablespoons of flour. You can use any flour of your choice. I'm using almond flour, and then pouring in 1 tablespoon of maple syrup, a decent pinch of cinnamon, and 1 tablespoon of coconut oil. I added some oats to get the right dough consistency for the crumble, and you can use any berries of your choice to layer into this crumble. I am just using frozen blueberries, and then all you have to do is put that crumble dough on top, bake at 375 for 15 minutes, and add your favorite kind of yogurt. I added coconut yogurt, coconut flakes, and a little bit more cinnamon because I'm obsessed. This is so delicious. It tastes like something I would get at a coffee shop, a high-end little vegan coffee shop in New York, in Brooklyn, you know? It's so good. But better because the ingredients are so simple, there's not a ton of sugar in it, and it's nice and warm. For lunch, I'm sharing another one of my all-time favorite recipes as of lately that I learned from TikTok, so I'll link the original one down below. These are tacos with an oyster mushroom base. Now, I, for so long, did not mess around with mushrooms, but I've slowly been falling in love with them thanks to oyster mushrooms because they retain flavors so well and have such a good meaty texture. I squeeze these down with another clean pan to get excess liquid out, but unfortunately, all that liquid just ended up in the pan, and so I had to drain it. So I kind of do the squeezing and pressing before putting them into my oiled up pan, just so they can get perfectly charred. That's what you want, a nice flat charred mushroom. For the sauce, I'm drizzling soy sauce, cumin, agave, garlic and onion powder. Just stir that all up. This sauce is so flavorful and so easy to throw together. Just make it to taste. I don't have any measurements. And then after I sauteed some onions in that same pan, got some of my sauces and toppings ready, heated up the tortillas. I love making my meals really intentional and just having tons of toppings. I made this delicious vegan crema sauce to go with the tacos, and it has become another new obsession of mine. You can use this for so many different things. The base is half a cube of tofu, 1/4 of an onion or half a shallot, a generous amount of cumin, the juice of 1 lemon, and water to get the right viscosity, and just add all these seasonings to taste. I added a bunch of nutritional yeast, and this just has a really nice creamy, nutty, neutral flavor, and it adds a lot to different dishes. And I just assembled my tacos. We got the avo, fresh cilantro, lettuce, These are so delicious. My mouth is watering just watching this video. And this is a recipe that I would make for my non-vegan friends that would probably really satisfy them. The sauce really hits, and making this with oyster mushrooms in particular is the best way to go because I've made them with other mushrooms and it just doesn't hit the same. But a little bit later, the sun came out and I decided to pick some mangoes for the owner of the house that I'm living in so that she can have some fresh mangoes, or I'm probably gonna freeze them, but just have some sweetness in her freezer waiting for her. It's so incredible how one fruit tree bears so much fruit, so much abundance, and I'm obsessed with mangoes, so every time I picked a ripe one, it felt like striking gold. For dinner, I decided to attempt making ravioli using 2 cups of flour, a half cup of aquafaba, and another half cup of water. You don't need to use the aquafaba, you can just use normal water. And I mixed in the dough for about 10 minutes until it became a little dough ball and put it aside to make the filling. This is vegan Kite Hill chive cream cheese, and I also added a big handful of spinach as well as some steamed potato. And the smoothness of the inside of your filling really depends on how much you blend your fillings together. So if you want just a creamy sauce, blend it up a lot. If you want more texture, blend less. I am slightly nervous to make these ravioli because this is gluten-free dough and it's already pretty crumbly, so I'm gonna keep some flour by my side as well as a little bit of water. You gotta moisten it up, gotta soften it up, you know. Let's just see how this goes. You can use a wine bottle to roll out dough, but I'm a little scarred because one time I was rolling out dough with glass and it shattered and got all in the dough. Pretty scary, I'd say. Oh, it's so crumbly. I can't even lift it up without it falling apart. I think that I'm just going to make individual ravioli pockets, and this might take me forever, but I think it's the only way this will work. I'm using Bob's Red Mill, gluten-free, all-purpose baking flour. This is garbanzo bean base with some potato starch, tapioca flour. Not happening. I would honestly use normal flour if I had it, but I only have gluten-free flour. I feel like I do want to try going gluten-free for a little bit just to see how my body responds, because I would just like to try a little bit of an elimination diet. This really isn't working and I'm so sad. I was really excited. Since my ravioli pasta attempt completely failed, I decided to make a quesadilla. I know it's just probably a lot of tortillas for one person's day, but I personally love tortillas. I could eat them for every single meal, and I layered mine with some BioLife cheddar shreds. It's my favorite vegan cheese, and heated up this leftover tomato soup, which is just a tomato soup base. Then I just added veggies to it and pureed it slightly. I added more of that leftover tofu crema and dipped my quesadilla into that tomato soup. This is so good. I'm so content in this moment. I'm just putting good energy into myself. I used to really demonize certain things that I would eat as bad food, cheap food, junk food, which is a thing. Like, junk food is a worthy category, but something like a cheese quesadilla, I would feel so guilty about eating. I would count the calories, I would think about it all day. I would follow it with restricting myself or working out really hard, and having that guilt while consuming the food, I feel like I was absorbing that feeling of like, oh, I'm less worthy because I'm eating this. But now, just because I accept myself and I don't have this attachment to the way that my body is supposed to look, I feel like I can just eat this cheese quesadilla and feel really good about it, and feel really good about how well my body digests it, feel really good about honoring my cravings, which might not always be the healthiest, but they're also not unhealthy or bad foods or cheap foods, especially if I balance them out. It's just been really healing to fully rest in the frequency of knowing that I am worthy and valid and safe in this body, and that my gifts and my magic go beyond this physical vessel. I've mentioned in a few previous What I Eat in a Day videos that I'm trying to cut out processed foods, but to be honest, I feel like anything that digests well in my body and gives me energy, I'm just gonna eat that and listen to that and do everything out of love and not punishing my body. So that's kind of the direction I've been headed. Would I like to make my own simple vegan plant-based cheese? Absolutely, but I just haven't found a way to make this kind of, melty cheese, maybe with some tapioca starch or something like that. And I genuinely feel like my body looks really good right now, and I feel really toned, and my digestion is so good, and everything is just simply just working optimally and in place, and I feel really confident and good in my skin. And I feel like all of that is because I've deconstructed this immense guilt and constant questioning of worth when it comes to like food related patterns. It's about 9:15 right now, and I'm getting ready for bed. Part of my nighttime routine ritual is to sing, and I kind of start my day with that as well. But it really helps me to connect to my breath, and I started doing this when I would have anxiety upon visiting my family, and I would be in the car with the windows rolled down just chanting or singing, and it would alleviate a lot of tension in my body. Of course, extending the exhale just calms the nervous system and really affects our physiology in a positive way. And singing is a really natural way to use the full length of your exhale, and so I really like to freestyle to random lo-fi beats, but it's definitely just something that I really like to do when I'm just trying to ground into my body, especially at the end of the day. I feel like it's good to have a morning routine and a nighttime routine just so that you can have structure and kind of anchor your frequency in a really controlled way, connect it with the truth of your being and your inherent worthiness. I have personally found that to be really important. Another thing that I've really been loving that I find really beneficial, because sometimes you grab your phone out of habit, you're just like, oh, let me just scroll for entertainment, or I have free time, so let me just mindlessly use this device. And I always try to use my phone for something educational when I'm in those moods, when I have time to just play something in the background, like a Skillshare course. And I just wanted to share this YouTube channel that I really love. It's called Documentary Warehouse, and they have so many documentaries on there for free that are around an hour long. I don't think I've seen any over 2 hours, about so many cool random things, just so many different moments in history, ancient civilizations, how the brain was formed. They have a very wide range of documentaries on there, and they're not the best quality, but I just think it's so fun to learn. And I'm just one of those people who knows a little bit about a lot of random things. I do want to focus my energy a little bit more on certain things like filming and editing and color grading. I want to improve on those, or becoming a social worker is still something that I'm trying to find the program that would work for me. But I also just love expanding my consciousness through the awareness of the different stages in our evolution and the different civilizations that have existed that were just so intelligent, like their forms of medicine, their awareness of the stars, the structures they created, and the complex forms of storytelling and writing and communication that they had. And wow, I feel like now more than ever it's just so important to be anchored in your truth of love and into your breath, into your body, into your prayers, and really filling yourself with goodness on all levels and having that manifest outwardly, and believing in the greatest unfolding for all beings everywhere as a collective on this earth. And I do think that it's important to stay aware and use the awareness and education that you might be receiving through all of the different platforms to empower positive action instead of letting it just feel like doomsday in your head. and really taking note of when watching the news and reading articles is beneficial and when it's literally just putting you into a depressive slump. There are so many incredible things also taking place in the world, and I feel like it's so easy to watch the news and feel like it's all darkness, but darkness will always match the light when we're living in this dual plane. And just know that for every negative news title, there is something incredibly beautiful taking place that just wasn't worthy of a clickbait title. I'm just trying to tune in with that frequency and keep myself grounded and aware of what's going on in the world. But thank you so much for tuning into my channel. Thank you for receiving my heart and my energy so tenderly. I just feel so grateful that we're on this journey together and to be received by you in any capacity. Like, very humbly, my whole spirit and body is just bowing down to you and seeing you as a reflection of me and loving you so deeply. So thank you for being here. I cherish you, and I will see you in a video soon, I hope. Bye!